So SummerSlam has come and it has gone, y'all. And overall, I believe it was a good PLE. It is put WWE on a good path. Now, how they go from here, we just gotta wait and see. But I think this was a good foundation for the future, honestly, because they did some things that I didn't expect, but they kept some things the same, and we're gonna get into it. Now, this is a deep dive, but I'm not gonna deep dive into every match in every detail. I'll be here an hour, so let's get into it. Now, night one is up for debate. Night one could be potentially considered better than night two. I personally think night one had a strong opening and a strong mid-card. The main event fell kind of flat. I still feel like Cody and CM Punk should have main evented, because the Hell in a Cell, I'm gonna get to it, but the Hell in a Cell was kind of lackluster. It left a lot to be desired. But I'm going too fast. So Liv Morgan defended her title against Io Sky. She won. To me, this was the best match of the night. It was fast paced, and they got their spots. The Judgment Day did their thing. Everything. It was just a good opener. Really, really good. Liv Morgan retained like I thought she would. Let's go to Gunther and Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis still look good. Magnus still look good, y'all. The man was moving well. He didn't look like he had ring rust, and his style is just different. I was happy he got to show people that he still can go. He's, to me, he's a legendary wrestler for a reason. So I like that. But Gunther took home the victory, as we kind of figured. LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys beat the Bloodline. I did not see that coming, and I thought Solo was gonna turn. He didn't turn, so that was surprising. I thought for sure Solo was gonna turn on them. They might have got the victory, but I thought he was gonna spike somebody. But no, I think they running with this babyface Solo, and I'm here for it, y'all. And my brother mentioned something to me. He was like, the Bloodline can lose and still look strong. They recover really, really well. So it's not no big deal that they lost. And I was like, yeah, you make a good point. So I think the Usos and Jacob, they'll be all right. Let's go to, Fatal Attraction. They beat the Bellas and Paige. And Nikki turned on Paige after they lost. And Brie joined in. And I figured all of this would happen. You could see this coming from a mile away, and it happened. That's why I said sometimes WWE, the obvious choice is the right choice. And now I guess Paige finna feud with Nikki, but at least Paige finna go do her own thing for a little bit. That's what I want. That's what I need. But Fatal Influence took the victory, and they're building momentum. They build momentum. Now, I just need JC Jane to get her a title. Now, let's go forward to CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. Now, this to me should have been the main event, and it was a good match. Damn good match. We saw the return of Randy, who cost Cody his championship match. But CM Punk, him and Cody put on a classic like they always do, and it went for about 30 minutes. And to me, I like this better than the Roman and Seth Rollins match. That's just me personally. And once again, it should have main evented. Now, let's get into the main event, which was Femi versus Brock Lesnar in a Hell in a Cell. It was built up to be extremely, extremely good. And it wasn't that. I'm not gonna go far and be like, this was the worst, this was the worst main event in SummerSlam history. I'm not gonna do that. But it wasn't great. I'm just gonna be honest. For them to be two monsters that caused carnage. They didn't cause none. Like, they didn't destroy nothing. The only thing that got destroyed was Brock had tore the ring and exposed the wood. And it was cool that he, tombstone Oba on the wood, but Oba kicked out, and then Oba basically hulked up, and then he punched the chair, and then fall from grace. And then that was the end. We needed brutality. I wanted one of the cell walls to break. Y'all could have even climbed to the top. Y'all ain't have to fight up there, but y'all could at least climbed up there. I'm just saying, I had a lot in mind once they announced that it was gonna be a Hell in a Cell. Really, we didn't even need the cell. Honestly, if y'all just wanted a cage, you could have just did a steel cage match, and I think it would have went off better. Just imagine if it's a steel cage and, he ripped the ring up and different stuff like that. In all honesty, you ain't even need a cage. You could have just had a street fighter, no holds barred. Y'all could have did a lot, WWE, but y'all chose not to. I like the end, what Brock said about Oba, how he lifted his hand and basically passed the torch to Oba Femi. I loved all that. Now, for that to be the ending, it made me be satisfied with night 2. The match, I done sat on it a little bit. Wasn't that great? Would I rewatch it? Probably not. But, night 1, it's okay. It's okay. Not the worst main event, but strong mid-card and opener. Now, night 2, y'all. Night 2, to me, pretty balanced. The main event was 10 times better than Oba and Brock. The opener was good, but it wasn't as good as Liv versus Io Sky. Now, for the opener, we had Sami Zayn and Finn Balor. They had a match that was supposed to be a number 1 contenders match, but Nick Aldis came out and he said, "I'm gonna spice it up." So he added Gunther to the match, and then people were like, "Oh, Gunther's gonna win." But then he said, "I'm not just adding one person, I'm adding another. We're gonna make this a fatal 4-way." And so when he said that, I was like, "Dang, who else?" I thought it could have been Carmelo, but I was so happy when this music hit. It was Kevin Owens, KO. Kevin Owens. I almost shed a tear. I did. I almost cried because I was like, man, I'm so happy he back. Like, we missed KO. We really did. It's just his style of wrestling. It's just his promo games, his intensity, his comedic timing. KO is really, really good, man. And I really did miss him in the business. And him coming back, it was real good. That's a way to kick off SummerSlam. And so he came back and they was brawling, they was fighting. Now, this was a fast-paced fatal 4-way. We had 4, to me, wrestling geniuses in the ring. They didn't get to do a lot of spots and stuff, that like the people doing triple threats and fatal 4s. But it was like, here. They was just going. And it was quick pace. It wasn't a bad match. It was a decent match. I even say it was a good match. And the outcome made it better. KO returned and KO won. So now he's the new number 1 contender. So strong opener. Not as strong as night 1, but still, we on a good path. Like I said. Then we had Baron Corbin take on Trick. I thought Trick was going to retain the title. Nope, Baron Corbin took it from him. They matched not that great. We gonna forget about it soon. But Baron Corbin won. Then where we gonna skip to? Now, I don't know what people thought we was gonna get from Danhausen versus Dirty Dom, the money's on the pole match. But it's a Danhausen match. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be fun. And you ain't supposed to get no wrestling classic. So I don't know what folks was thinking you was gonna get. Calm down. Relax. Nigga, it's Danhausen. He can wrestle, but he thrives in comedy. That's his lane. So you have to take, you gotta put those glasses on and look at it like that. This is supposed to be funny. This is supposed to be entertaining. This is supposed to not be taken seriously, but people want to take it serious and stuff, and that's when your expectations get ruined. Anyway, enough of that. Danhausen ended up beating Dirty Dom. He got the money, and him and his little army, that's what I'm gonna say, his little army, they was throwing the money in the crowd and stuff, and fun match. Once again, just like the Baron Corbin Trick Willie match, not gonna remember this match. I promise you I will not, and y'all will not either. Now, let's see. The women's ladder match. What a match. That match will be remembered because of the victor, which ended up being Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green. I couldn't believe it either. You know, Chelsea is the new interim WWE Women's Champion, and I'm happy. I'm happy for her. You know, I've been campaigning for her to win the Money in the Bank. She was my choice. I gotta switch it up now. I gotta pick somebody like Roxanne or, you know, Julia, you know, Jade. So Chelsea won that match, and to me, I like how it mirrored how, you know, her husband, Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, won the Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match. I like that. That was a nice touch, WWE. I see what you did there. But Chelsea Green is the champion. And, man, we had some heavy hitters in here. We had Charlotte, Jade, Tiffy, Lash. And Chelsea won. Surprise of the night, if you ask me. You know, because KO coming back, oh my God, big surprise. But Chelsea winning? That's a bigger surprise, because didn't nobody see that coming. I promise you, didn't nobody had it on their bingo card for real. Chad Gable, he took on Penta in what I believe was the match of the night for night 2. And they put on a classic. And their chemistry is just good. They had chemistry all of the times they have wrestled. And this was just another great match from these two. Chad Gable pulled out the victory. Penta gave him the title, rose his hand, and Chad Gable come on, y'all, do it. Gable! The man did this thing, so, you know, Chad Gable won in his hometown, and, you know, he brought his family out there, just like he did when he had to take his mask off. After the mask versus mask, he said the same thing. He said, "My name is Chad Gable," and you know, this is the path we need Chad Gable on. You know, let's build him up, let him dominate this mid card, and then if y'all do right, he can go straight to the main event. Honestly, in my opinion, Chad Gable can feud for a main event title. He can. WWE just gotta put the rocket behind him. Because he has fans. Almost all wrestlers have fans, if we just being honest. But all the stars gotta align, the writers gotta write it, you know, the booking gotta book it, everything gotta be right. But that's just how I feel. Penta, great match. Penta, you're gonna be fine. And I'm pretty sure Penta is gonna go straight into another feud. I wouldn't be surprised if he challenged Roman, honestly. Yeah, that's just how I feel. Now, main event, because I don't believe I'm forgetting anything. Main event, Roman versus Seth Rollins. This was the end of the Shield story. And this was a good ending. You know, this was a classic brother versus brother, blood feud, I love you but I hate you match. And I can't say this enough. Roman and Seth deliver almost every time they're in the ring. I don't even know if they really have a bad match, you know. So we knew this was gonna be good, and it was for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it was a lot of close calls, and thought Seth might have pulled out the victory, but at the end, we knew Roman was gonna have to get the job done. The story ends with Roman smashing 1, 2, 3 winner. Like, the Roman had to beat Seth. He had to beat Seth in order for this story to close. Because if Seth kept beating Roman, we'll never get to an end. Roman has to get his justice. Roman has to get, his, in a way, revenge. And Seth is Seth freaking Rollins. He's fine. At the end, they did their little shield thing, and then they had the mask. The mask supposed to represent Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose, and it was Roman, Seth, and Dean in the middle of the ring doing the shield thing, possibly for the last time, and it was beautiful. The endings of night 1 and night 2 were beautiful. Good ways to send the fans home happy. Of course, I would have loved for it to be a surprise, like somebody potentially getting attacked. But we don't always need that. But I do like how they ended this match. It was said that Roman hit 3 spears, 3 for each member of the Shield. That's dope. I like that. Back to overall. This SummerSlam, to me, could be considered one of the best SummerSlams in a long time. Like, you had a few bummer matches in there, but overall, all the good matches were really good. All the moments were really good moments. And it's things that we're gonna remember from this PLE, to come. We're just gonna remember them. Like I said, this set the foundation for the future. And if this is the direction that WWE is gonna take, I like it. I really do. It shows promise. It shows that they're willing to semi-take risk, So, fingers crossed that WWE keeps this momentum, keeps trying to make us happy instead of lying to us and acting like they're gonna make us happy. Like, try to make us happy. Try to entertain us. Don't just try to quick money grab. Because people are getting away from the sport. People are getting away from WWE. Because we starting to see through some bullshit. But anyway, SummerSlam, I gave it 2 thumbs up on my shorts. And this was a really good PLE, y'all. If you ain't seen it, go check it out. You won't be disappointed.